Governor of college football. We're going to recap ACC Media Days, day one. So much intriguing stuff to talk about. First thing first, more importantly, the Westin, Charlotte. If you are traveling near the greater Charlotte area, make sure you check out the Westin. The staff is amazing. The food that they have been amazing. They've been extremely hospitable. So that's the first thing I want to talk about. I remember Scott Satterfield saying, how having AT&T Stadium host the Big 12 Media Days, he was like, yeah, ACC had it in a hotel. I don't think he was trying to minimize it, but I'm going to let you know right here, right now, the Westin is the perfect place to host this event. So shout out to the Westin. All right, moving on to the next thing. So Jim Phillips opened this thing up just like all commissioners do of all media days, or in ACC case, ACC Kickoff 2023. And the one thing I must commend him on was, one, he understands that the ACC is treated like that red-headed stepchild, but he came with facts. A lot of times people come with opinion. Jim Phillips came with facts. He said 16 national titles within the ACC last 2 years, most in the country. 9 titles this past fiscal year, that's also most in the country. And the thing that I thought he was going to get grilled about, if you see my expectations video, was the Northwestern thing, the fact that he was the AD there for 13 years. He didn't get grilled about it at all. Like, he really was on some Scarface-ish, if I'm being honest. He went up there, he was like, and lastly, it was the last thing of his opening speech before they opened it up for questions. He's like, I know a lot of people have questions about my time at Northwestern and was I aware of the allegations. He made it clear and simple. He said no. He said, but because of legalities, I can't talk about it right now. And guess what? No, not one media person asked him about it. Like, it was the most gangsterous thing that I've seen in this type of event. And I was just like, yo, Jim Phillips is really him. Like, I already had a lot of respect for the dude, but the way he commanded the room. Also, we met him in person yesterday, me, Moon, and Mike. We all are early birds. We like getting to a venue early, picking up our credentials earlier, walk around, talk to people. We took a little shot, celebrating some of our successes, and he spoke to us not only once but twice. So in my book, for my money, Jim Phillips is a stand-up dude. So after that, Syracuse came on. We didn't know the order of the teams because they had it in a certain order, and it was almost in reverse. Dino Babers was asked a really difficult question. He was like, you guys did something that's kind of never been done before with winning 5 games and having a 5-game winning streak and a 5-game losing streak in the same season. He addressed a lot of those concerns. Some of them was injuries. Some of them, like he was saying, was just players started to let doubt creep up in their mind. Another thing that they were asked about, more specifically, Garrett Strader was more so asked about, was how different is the scheme going to be with Coach Beck versus Coach Robert and I. You guys know, big fan of Robert and I. He's now in Raleigh, NC State Wolfpack. We will hear from them on Thursday media days. And it was like schematically, because Coach Beck was an internal promotion. Schematically, it's pretty much the same thing. It's not too far off. He said the more important thing is that with Sean Tucker now in the NFL, they don't have him in the backfield. He wasn't taking a shot at this room. He was just being honest. He was like, so he believes that the offense this year is going to be a lot more explosive. And like I predicted in the expectations for ACC Media Days, Oronde Gaston was certainly asked about his position. Also, Dino Babers was asked about his position as well. So Oronde Gaston had an amazing answer for it. He said, I don't want to be called a tight end or a wide receiver. He's like, I'm just a ball player. You just put me anywhere, I'm going to make plays on the football field. So that was another thing we liked. Moon and I had pretty their linebackers, Marlo Wax. He's from Maryland. I asked him about Maryland. Moon asked him a great question. I'm not going to steal Moon's thunder because I know he's going to give you guys a recap as well. But, Syracuse handled it well. Also, if you are part of media, get to these venues early. You'll be surprised who you talk to. Like I said, we got there early. We talked to Jim Phillips yesterday. We also talked to Dino Babers yesterday, and he's like, hey, you guys got us on the docket, right? We was like, yes, sir, absolutely. So we made sure we asked Syracuse a handful of questions when they were on stage. There was a little intermission after that. Then Miami was the next team, and I figured they would get a lot of the top billing. They actually had more time than anybody else on the stage. Mario Cristobal got the questions that we pretty much figured he would get. Yo, college football is better when the you is the you. And he was pretty much talking about being able to restore that feeling down in Coral Gables. Tyler Van Dyke was in attendance. Of course, he got, questioned about his quarterback play this past season versus previous seasons. And we actually are going to be uploading the entire Mario Cristobal interview. But Miami did a great job. I don't know. It's just, you could just tell that they're just a premier football program. And this is no shot at any school that was up there today, but Miami just have a different swag about them, a different bravado about them. And if you think about what they were able to do during this past recruiting cycle, they're believing. And not only just, recruiting out of high school, also with the transfer portal, because they was active there as well. After that was Louisville. Coach Brown, I think, stole the show with Louisville. Also, I was able to ask their running back Jawar a great question as well. But Coach Brown stole the show. He's like, it's one thing not being successful in somewhere else that isn't your home. He says another thing not having success that at a place that's considered your home. He said, home, you're going to hear about it. He said, so the bar is up here. And he plans to meet those expectations for sure. So after Louisville, I believe the last team to close it out was Georgia Tech. And Georgia Tech is just an entire interesting situation. Make sure you guys stay tuned to CFB Nation, because I'm sure Moon Vibes, being that, he's from Atlanta, he's going to give you his vantage point, so I'm not going to steal his thunder there. But Leverett Kt, out of everyone who spoke today, was by far the most charismatic, funniest guy in the room. Like, dude was hilarious. I repeat, do not ask him a question about expectations, and the worst thing you can ask him about is the past. Like, he was just straightforward. He's like, y'all asking me about expectations. Y'all asking me about our week 1 game versus Louisville. He said, I don't know who the starting quarterback is. Like, bro, no nonsense. You could tell he an offensive coordinator through and through. And like I said, Leverett Kt, if you haven't caught any of the media days and you're trying to figure out, hey, what should I look for? What should I look through? Go look at that Leverett Kt interview. I promise you, it is must-see TV. This is the governor of college football, #GOCFB. As I always like to say, do something nice that somebody normally wouldn't do. Always pay it forward. Peace and love. Peace and blessings. Until next time, y'all already know what it is. Put the fingers in the air. 1.